and whole management and team of Moji College of Pharmacy, Pune. I'm not able to hear you all, but if you have any questions, you can put your questions in chat box and we'll take those questions after this presentation. In order to avoid any disruption, any further disruption, we will take all the questions at the end of session, or in between I will take pause for your questions. Hope this sounds good to you all. So let's begin with today's presentation, which is on overview of manuscripts, abstracts, and posters. So when I was in college, I was craving to publish my manuscripts, abstracts, go for poster presentations. But at that time, I wasn't having that guidance, what it was required at that time. So the purpose of this session is to familiarize all the students, all these pharma background individuals who are wishing to publish their manuscripts, go for abstract writing, go for poster presentations, oral poster presentations. So objective of today's session is the key points which we are going to cover are manuscripts, abstracts, and posters. And agenda will be, we'll discuss types of manuscripts, followed by IMRAD, structure of manuscript. What is IMRAD? IMRAD is introduction, methods, results, and discussion. So we'll be discussing structure of manuscripts in detail. Then we'll discuss process of publishing manuscripts, followed by authorship and ethical issues, methods and structure of poster presentation that we'll cover after that. Then we'll go through how to create a poster, because nowadays there are many poster presentation competitions going on, e-poster presentations. So I will take you through how to prepare poster, and we'll begin this session with the quote of Miller, which says, "If it wasn't published, it wasn't done." So if you are performing your research, you are conducting your research at your end, but if you are not publishing it, it wasn't done. You don't have any proof that you have done that research. And with this note, we'll start with what is manuscripts. Manuscripts is a version of book, article, or other work before being published or prepared for publication. When scientific publication started, it started way before 16th century. In 16th, 17th century, publication writing started, scientific publications. And previously there wasn't any peer review of publications. You just used to prepare publications, and those publications were used to be published in journals. But later on, the peer review process for scientific manuscripts was born in England, made the journal standard of quality and scientific validity. So in order to maintain quality of journals, each and every journal started peer reviewing scientific manuscripts before publishing in their journals. So it started from England, and the purpose of peer review of these articles was to maintain standard of their quality of journals and scientific validity. And this is one example of manuscript. It is from 1946. In 47 it was published, and writing it was written by these individuals, these gentlemen, and material was papyrus, parchment, and bronze. So these materials were used to prepare this manuscript. Moving on to types of manuscripts. There are two types of manuscripts: primary research manuscript and secondary research or derivatives. As name itself implies, primary research means a real research, a new research. So like for example, experiments and clinical trials. The trials which we are conducting in human being, these are experiments, these are new research, these are primary researches. So preparing publication or manuscript for clinical trial comes under primary research article or primary research manuscript. It is new and original scientific findings. It comprises new and original scientific findings. Next is, can you still hear me? Okay, thanks for confirming. So next primary research is survey types. So the surveys which we are carrying out for epidemiological studies comes under primary research. Next is qualitative research, case reports or case studies. These can be conducted only in like one subject. For example, I am conducting a research in HIV subject, and purpose of my research is to assess efficacy or to assess effect of stress in that patient. So only in one patient I am conducting that research. That can be a case study or case report. So qualitative studies. So these are primary researches for which we prepare manuscripts. So if we see in what are guidances available for primary researches for clinical trials. If we are conducting any clinical trial, we have clinical study reports prepared after conducting that research. And after that, we are going to prepare a manuscript. For that, we have a guidance which is known as CONSORT. It is Consolidated Standards of Reporting Trials Statement. It was developed in 1996. The recent version of this checklist or this guidance is CONSORT 2010, which is the most up-to-date version, which contains checklist. There are 25 items covered in that checklist that we need to take into consideration while preparing a manuscript for randomized clinical trials. I can show you that checklist, how it looks. So this is a CONSORT checklist. There are 25 items in this checklist. So when I am preparing any manuscript for clinical study for any randomized clinical trial, I will use this checklist. For titles, for example, for title and abstract, identification as a randomized trial in the title. So if I'm preparing a manuscript for any randomized trial, in my title, explicitly randomized trial will be mentioned. Next is structured summary of trial design. Methods. So for example, it is a double blind trial. So I will explicitly mention in my trial that this is a randomized double blind trial, comparative trial. If there is a comparator, if there is a comparator, I will mention that. And in abstract, I will include trial design, methods used, results, and conclusion. Similarly for introduction, so these are different checkpoints which we need to consider while preparing manuscript for any randomized clinical trial. So for each and every category or each and every subsection of manuscript, there are checkpoints. So if we need to mention about participant eligibility criteria, we will mention, for example, we are conducting trial in diabetic patients. So patient should be diabetic. It should be aged between 18 year to 60 year of age. So such minute things are covered in this CONSORT checklist. Next is for survey. For surveys, there is Straube statement, strengthening the reporting of observational studies in epidemiology. So this is one of the statements similar to consort. There is a statement checklist for preparing manuscript for epidemiological studies. Next is qualitative studies, case report studies. For that, we have case report are usually short and focused. For that, we have case report statement. So we saw consort statement, we saw Storbes statement, and we saw care statement. So all these comes under primary research. Next is secondary research or derivative. So when we are doing systematic reviews, already there are many journals available in market. We are systematically reviewing all these journals and preparing a manuscript, that is also known as review articles. We prepare review manuscripts, systematic reviews. We perform meta-analysis and provide uh, consolidated data. So for example, there are hundreds and thousands of journals with um, diabetic diabetes type 2 studies or researches. So what I will do in meta-analysis, I will collect all the results and I will analyze all the results in my manuscript and present it in a systematic way. And when I am performing this, I must have objective why I am doing this meta-analysis, and objective should be answered in my results and conclusion part. So this is secondary research or derivative. Why we are calling it as derivative? Because it is derived from many already other journals, primary research manuscripts available in market. Next is guidelines on hypertension. So if for example my organization is developing a guideline for hypertension, so that is a guideline, so that comes under secondary research. And next is economic analysis, health economics and outcome research. So we'll see in detail. So overviews for this particular category, there are statements available. There is a statement available which is known as PRISMA, preferred reporting items for systematic review and meta-analysis. So as we saw that checkpoints in consort statement, similar checkpoints you can see in PRISMA statement. Next is guidelines on hypertension. Clinical practice guidelines suggested by the international grades of recommendation, assessment, development, and evaluation. So there is like a PRISMA statement for guidelines. There is a grade working group guideline on preparing guidelines. Next is economic analysis. How much of the drug or treatment cost should be reimbursed by the healthcare system? This is like one kind of research in economic analysis. So each and every pharmaceutical company perform this economic analysis before setting up prices for their drugs. So these are two types of researches for which we prepare manuscripts. So I will take a pause here, and if you have any questions that can be answered at this time. So if you have any question, please mark it in chat box, because I'm not able to hear you, and if you all will be unmuted, there will be disruption and lot of noise. So please feel free to add your question if you have any till this point. So there aren't any question as of now in chat box. Stop. Okay, there is a question from Sparsha, that is, can you please add on stop? So I will take this question first. So this is for epidemiological studies. So if there are any epidemiological studies conducted by any organization or by any person, for that there is a guideline which is strengthening the reporting of observational studies in in epidemiology. So when we are calling observational studies in this, so there are two kind of studies. One is observational studies and second is interventional studies. So what is interventional studies? In interventional studies, we are giving our drug to patients and we are assessing effect of that drug. And in observational studies, what we are doing, we are not giving our drug to patient to observe effect of our drug. We are observing in normal setup. For example, if there are anti-diabetic formulations, I will just observe effect of that anti-diabetic formulation in different from different studies or from different centers. So these are observational studies, and these are the randomized trials. Those are interventional studies. So for observational studies, we are using Strawberry statement. It is not handy at present with me, but you can easily find out it by Googling it. Full form of Strawberry statement is strengthening the reporting of observational studies in epidemiology. And that is categorized under primary research. Hope it answers, Sparsha. Okay, thank you. So now we are moving ahead and we'll see now anatomy of manuscripts. So these are different sections or different things which we cover in manuscript. First is cover letter. Whenever we are communicating with any journal, we have to prepare a cover letter. In that cover letter, we will provide our background and the type of manuscripts we are proposing to publish in their journals. Then author information. We need to provide author information, their background, their designation, in which organization they belongs to, followed by acknowledgements. So whenever we perform studies, there are many individuals involved in helping us to carry out those researches. Or for example, if I am preparing an introduction section, and for that introduction section, I need one review article or any publication to be from which I'm adding some information in my introduction section. So I will contact that author and will get permission from that author. So that person provided permission to me. So I will acknowledge that in my acknowledgement section. Next is title, abstract, keywords, tables, figures, and I am already. I am already will discuss in detail. So these are components, or if we can say it, anatomy of manuscripts. These all parts comprises in manuscripts. There are more parts which are references. It is very important to refer all the material which you referred during preparing your manuscript. What you referred there, you need to provide citation. How many citations we are giving, that also are assessed when journals are peer reviewing our manuscript. Self citation. So what is self citation? Self citation is like, for example, you already published one manuscript and you are taking some information from that published manuscript and including in your introduction section, or you are referring your own publication. So that is known as self citation. So if it is not like that, that it is I am taking that from my own publication, so no need to cite in this particular publication. It is wrong. It is unethical. If you are referring your own manuscript, that also needs to be cited in your manuscript. That is known as self-citation. Journal self-citation. So in which journal you cited that also you need to mention. In press, in print, forthcoming. For example, manuscript is selected, but it is in press. It is not yet published. It is not yet in physical form of that particular manuscript. So in during that time, after citing your reference, you just need to mention in press or in print, or if it is in you are expecting that in forthcoming month it will be coming, you need to mention this reference is forthcoming. Or thesis, it is taken from thesis. Personal communication, so these needs to be referred in your manuscripts. Author contribution, we'll be discussing in detail about author contribution, what qualifies, what is ghost authors, honorary authors, so that will cover in our forthcoming slides. Conflict of interest, we need to add Okay, so I will continue from anatomy of manuscripts. So we covered anatomy of manuscript. These all components are comprised in manuscript. Next is abstract. So when there are different kinds of abstract. So for manuscript, we prepare abstract. For any conferences, they call for abstract, and based on that, based on our abstract, they are inviting us for presenting our research work. So we'll see example of abstract. So these are two examples of abstract. Based on publication house, there are different kinds of requirements that we need to fulfill while preparing abstract. So in first abstract, we can see title. We can see title of our study, that is phase 2A study of um, atollurin mediated dystrophin production in patients with nonsense mutation Duchenne muscular dystrophy. This is trial of this is title of our trial. Exactly. Thanks for adding Balaji. Balaji Deshmukh sir is adding that apart from this Elsevier Science Direct based journal asking for highlights, graphical, abstract, and supplementary data if needed. Yes, that is true, and we'll be covering in detail about that. We will be covering poster presentation and abstract writing also. So this is a standard abstract. You can see then in that we provide background or introduction and objectives of our trial. In background, we provide objectives of our research, methods, what methods we are deploying in our research that we cover in this, results and findings, In results, we are just presenting results. We are not coming to conclusion. That needs to be covered under conclusion and interpretation. So this is one kind of abstract. This is similar abstract, like where we are presenting title, we are covering author's information, then keywords, etc. So this is one of my abstract, which was recently selected in one of the renowned conference, global conference, in which my topic was clinically meaningful. How is it different from statistical significance? Like clinical trial data are predominantly analyzed with statistical significance. So how statistical significant is different from clinical meaningful? That was my topic, which was selected in that global conference, which was scheduled in June in Washington DC. But unfortunately, because of COVID situation, I'm not going for that conference. But this is just uh, model which I wanted to show you. It is not necessary that every time you will have same structure. Like here, explicitly there are sections, background, methods, findings, interpretations. But in this abstract, you will not see that explicit subsections. So we need to cover it in there was like a limit of 300 words. In 300 words, we need to present our research work. So in this keywords, what are keywords, equipments, what are needed for presenting this. So this is one kind of abstract. Next is basic structure of manuscript, that is IMRAD, introduction, methods, results, and discussion. So this is standard format of preparing manuscript. And it looks like this, like burger. I hope everyone already had their lunch. So you will not get this burger. This is just a demonstration for a standard format of manuscript. We start with introduction. High level problem statement we mention. For preparing manuscript, for preparing introduction, we need to review many journals, many articles. We need to perform literature review. Why we perform literature review? To identify research gap. So after identifying research gap, we'll present high level problem statement. For example, if we take example of anti-diabetic formulation, there are many anti-diabetic formulations available, and high level problem is there are many safety concerns. Mid-level problem can be they are not cheap. There are many poor people who want to procure that drug, but those drugs are not cheap. And this is a research gap. There is a safety issue. There is a financial issue. So this is a research gap which I identified from here. So from my research, I will fulfill those. I will try to breach those gaps. So I will prepare a formulation or a drug which is less toxic or more safe, and which is also at the same time cheaper. So in this way, in introduction, we need to provide high level problem statements. We need to provide mid level problem statements. What are research gaps and what are goals of your study? So in introduction section, you will cover these items. Next is methods. Now you have problem statements, you have objectives in place now. You will present methods, how you are going to evaluate that your drug is safer, at the same time it is effective, and at the same time it is cheaper. So how you are going to assess this, your objectives, these are your objectives. Setting population, which populations you are going to recruit in your trial, in your research. procedures, how you are going to statistically analyze your outcomes, and how reproducible your research will be. So that comes under methods. Next is results. So in results, we are just providing results without interpretation. This is very important. Many new authors are tempting to include interpretation at a result stage itself. For example, if I am assessing anti-diabetic formulation, I will assess glycosylated hemoglobin. So after 3 months, it reduced, and after 6 months, it reduced. So I will just present that data in result section, that at baseline, glycosylated hemoglobin level was X. After 3 months, it reduced to Y. After 6 months, it reduced to Z. That's it. I will not say here in result section that my drug is effective, or if I assess safety part of my research, I will just present here there were X number of adverse events, of which Y number of adverse events were related to my drug according to investigators, and Z number of events were serious. That's it. I will not conclude here that my drug is more safer. That I will keep for my discussion part. I will include interpretation of data in my discussion part, put in context with existing research. So here I will also compare my result with existing research. What were limitations of my trial? For example, I recruited only 30 subjects in my trial, and I am providing data of 30 subjects. So limitation of my trial is small sample size, right? Though statistically I'm proving that my drug is better or is safer and effective, and it has reproducible and robust results, but I will have to provide limitations of my research that we need to cover under discussion. And summary statement. So summary statement will be answer to your main primary objective. For example, my primary objective is to assess efficacy and safety of my drug. So my result, my last summary statement will be that my drug is effective and safe. That's it. So this is about a standard format of manuscript. So I will take a pause here now for taking any question. If you have any question, please put it in chat box. Okay, there is one question from Swapna madam. Please elaborate research gap. While conducting any research, you need objective, you need purpose, why you are conducting that trial. For example, I will take example of paracetamol. I am conducting a trial of paracetamol to evaluate efficacy and safety. Isn't it already assessed? It is already assessed, so there is no meaning. It is not making any sense of conducting trial of paracetamol, isn't it? Whatever research you perform to bridge any gaps. If there are any gaps, for example, in paracetamol, hepatotoxicity is also assessed, but I don't know if hepatotoxicity is already assessed, but I am not sure whether brain toxicity or heart toxicity is assessed. If it is not assessed, what I will do, or to identify whether it is assessed or not, I will perform literature review. I will go through number of literatures to see if effect of paracetamol on brain, in human brain or in human heart is assessed or not. If it is not assessed, that means there is a gap. and I can perform a research to identify effect of paracetamol on human heart or human brain. That is a gap. So for identifying that gap, I will perform literature review. So that is a research gap, and my objective of research will be to assess effect and effect of paracetamol on human heart or human brain. So that is a research gap. Is it clear, or you need more examples? Okay, thanks Swapna for asking that question. There is a question from Rahul Sonone. Is any standard format to write references? Yes, there are many standard formats available. There are different formats for different fields in a way. For medical science, there is a APAC. There is there are more citation guidance available. For computer sciences, there are different citations are available, and different companies are having their own citation parameters. For example, if you are publishing it in um, PubMed, they are having their criteria for citations. Next question is from Anaga Samant. Are guidelines of manuscript writing mentioned for each journal? Yes, they are having their own guidelines also, and they are quite varying. So you need to, if you are targeting any particular journal, you need to go to guidance for authors. So you need to see what guidances are available or provided for authors. There is another question. So citations in introduction you will cover separate. This presentation is basically an overview, so we are not going to cover in detail everything. So citations we need to provide in whenever we are referring any other journal or any other's work, we need to provide citations. If you are taking any particular paragraph or any particular result from any particular publication, you have to provide citation for that particular publication. You have to provide that credit to that particular author. If you are not doing so, it is unethical and it comes under plagiarism. You must be knowing about plagiarism. So it comes under plagiarism. You have to provide citations. We covered some more points about citation, about self-citation, about in print, if it is in print that we need to mention. So this is about that, Sparsha. Hope this helps you. Next question is from Anaga Saman. Are guidelines of manuscript writing mentioned for each journal that we covered? There is a question from Suraj Yadav. Please explain graphical abstracts. We are not going to cover graphical abstracts. However, we are going to cover poster presentation. In that, we present present abstracts that we are going to cover. Graphical abstract is not in our scope of today's presentation. Sorry, Suraj. Next question is from Dr. S.B. Patil. That is not question, that is a compliment. Thank you, Patil sir. There is one more question from Sparsha. Shall we reproduce same wording from the original article while citing in the introduction? We can reproduce, or we can take statement as is. Generally, we reproduce the wording from original article to match flow of our current article. It is not necessary that we need to reproduce or rephrase wording of original article. We can rephrase wording from the original article, but that we generally do to match flow of our current presentation. Please discuss about impact factor. Yeah, that is going to be too that we are not going to cover in detail. Sorry, Sarita madam. Impact factor, it is very, I will just briefly mention what is impact factor. Based on validity and quality of results, different impact factors are given to different journals. And if you are presenting, or if you are producing, or if you are publishing your manuscript in high impact factor journal, it is considered a great achievement, or good achievement. There are many questions. I think we'll stop taking questions here. We'll continue with our presentation, and we'll take further questions after completing the presentation. So we covered IM RAD standard format of manuscript. Next is publication process. So this is a standard publication process where we start with manuscript produced. We prepare manuscript. We submit manuscript to the journal. Then at journal level, there will be initial review by editors. There are different editors available for different journals. And if they find that your information is misleading, or it is copy paste from other original article, they are having softwares to assess whether you are how much plagiarism is there in your manuscript. So I think around 10% of plagiarism is acceptable for some journals, but that is assessed at this level, and your manuscript will be selected or rejected. If it is selected, if manuscript fits editorial platform, it will be sent for peer review. Then peer reviewer will review your manuscript. This peer reviewer will be from that journal on board. Then reviews completed. Once review is completed, your manuscript may need revision if there are some comments from reviewers that you need to fulfill. Then you need to send revised manuscript, and it can be selected or rejected. If it is selected, then it will be published in journal. Second scenario is your manuscript is directly accepted without any comment. That will be published in journal. And third scenario is that after peer review, your manuscript is rejected. You are not getting chance of revising your work. At editorial level, your manuscript was selected, but at peer review level, your manuscript is rejected. And whole process may take somewhere around 6 to 12 months. Next is authorship. We need to avoid guest or ghost writers. So what is authorship? Authorship also implies responsibility and accountability for publishing work. Solely acquiring funding or collecting data does not justify authorship. If you are having funds, or if you are only collecting data, you are not justifying authorship rule. For authorship, as per International Committee of Medical Journal Editor Recommendations 2013, they recommend that authorship be based on following 4 criteria. What are those 4 criteria? First criteria is substantial contributions. You have to provide substantial contributions, say in terms of conception or design of your work. Next is you are contributing in analyzing your work. You are interpreting, you are involved, or you are contributing in interpretation of data for the work. In this way, you are substantially contributing. Second parameter, as per ICMJE recommendation, is drafting the work or revising it critically for important intellectual content. Important intellectual content means you are not breaching any other's intellectual right that you are ensuring while drafting your work. Next is final approval of the version to be published. An agreement. Whenever you are publishing your manuscript, you have to sign agreement that you are accountable for this work. So these are 4 criteria for authorship as per ICMJ recommendations. And all these conditions must be met. It is not like that you are substantially contributing, so you can be author. No, you have to fulfill all these criteria to be an author of any manuscript. And all authors included on paper must fulfill the criteria. It is not like that main author is fulfilling these criteria and second, third, and fourth authors are not fulfilling. All authors have to fulfill these criteria, and no one who fulfill the criteria should be avoided, or should all the authors should be named. If someone is fulfilling all criteria, his or her name has to be there in authors list. There are some ethical issues, data that needs to be genuine. For example, there was there was a case in which there was one clinical research, contract research organization who manufactured data. They didn't collect data. For example, they collected ECGs from around 100. They collected 100 ECGs from 1 to 2 patients, and they presented that they performed research or they conducted ECG assessment in 100 subjects. So they manipulated data. They were caught after that, and that CRO is now closed. So data we need to we should not manufacture data. It has to be collected from our research. Duplicate publication. For example, what I'm doing, I'm preparing one manuscript, I'm sending it to one journal, it is accepted there, then I'm sending same manuscript to another journal. So I'm duplicating my publications. That is an ethical issue. We can't do that. Plagiarism. We discussed about plagiarism. We can't take others' work and include in our manuscript. If we are taking some statements, taking some results in our introduction section, we have to cite. We need to provide we need to provide credit for that particular work to that particular author. Next is misuse of statistics. Statistics can be used and can be abused. So at some instances, statistics, for example, if I'm saying my drug is 100% safe, I'm providing my result in safe. I'm not providing sample size. I conducted my research in only 2 patients. It is very small sample size. Based on this small sample size, I can't say that my drug is 100% safe, isn't it? So we need to provide holistic data that this research is conducted in 2 patients and my drug found safe in 2 patients. Instead of that, how we can misuse this data? We can just say my drug is 100% safe without quoting how many patients or how many subjects I recruited in my research. So we should avoid misusing statistics. We need to provide a holistic picture while providing our results and interpretation. Manipulation of images. We should not manipulate our images. We need to just present how it is taken. Inadequate or obviously false citation. So we need to avoid these things in order to reframe ethical issues. Next is how CRO writes manuscripts, how contract research organizations are writing manuscripts. I'm also from I'm also having I also have experience of writing manuscript in contract research organization. So we start with kickoff meeting. We are having kickoff meeting with clients. So we understand their need, and then client provides us source documents such as name of target, journal, CSR, clinical study report, protocol, clinical study report, synopsis, reviewed literatures, all source documents they provide to us. Then we prepare outline for that manuscripts, and we send that outline to the client for their review. Once they approve our outline, CRO author drafts manuscripts according to guidelines by targeted journals, and it is then sent for peer review and then for QC before sending it to client. Then client will review our manuscript. It gets approved. If it is not if it gets approved from client, it is submitted to journal and updated draft. If it is not approved by client, they provide some comments to us to resolve. Then we are addressing those comments, and then we are sending it back to client. And once they approve the final draft, it is submitted to journal. So in contract research organization setup, this is the process of manuscript writing. So this was all about manuscripts. Next is, let's design a poster. Now we'll discuss about posters. So this is a standard poster. I don't know how to hide this. Yes. Okay. So this is a standard poster. A poster is like graphically we are presenting our data. Data can be in tabular format, graphical format, pictures, or presentation. So we are presenting these data in a poster. And what are importance of posters? Why poster? Because in very concise we can provide our informations. There are 3 V's of communication. What are those 3 V's? Verbal communication, vocal communication, and visual communication. Verbal communication is providing, for example, I am providing information about my research in words. That is verbal communication, which has around 7% impact. Only 7% people will know about or understand my research. 38% impact is for vocal communication. Vocal communication is with expressions. If I'm elaborating my research with tones and pitch, changing voice, if I'm providing my information with gestures, different hand gestures, my facial expressions, with emotions, if I'm providing information, it will have 38% impact. But if I am providing details about my research with visual picture in front, it will have around 55% impact. And that's why poster presentation is important, where we are providing our information, background about our research results and conclusion, interpretation of our results in pictorial presentation, in pictorial format, graphs, tables. It will have around 55% impact. Therefore, poster presentation is demand of ours. Many conferences call for posters and poster presentations. Next is poster versus oral presentation. So this is picture from poster presentation, and this is picture from oral presentation. So you may have seen these situations, this scenario where you may have attended conferences where posters are presented, and you may have also attended conferences where there is oral presentation. So in poster presentation, roaming audience comes to your stall and ask you about your result, and you explain audience about your research. Whereas in oral presentation, audience is seated and focused on speaker. Posters interactive discussions, small group or often one-on-one. So here in poster presentations, there is like, these are interactive sessions. You will explain your research, visitor will ask question, you will explain, you will answer. So it is going to be an interactive session, whereas oral presentation is somehow monotonous, where there is question and answer session at the end. Then it is more informal. Poster presentation is more informal and not structured. Anyone can go to anyone's stall to understand anyone's research. It is informal, whereas oral presentation are formal and structured. In poster presentations, flexible content depending on listener. You can just skip method section and you can just jump on to results and explain results if visitor is in hurry, and if visitor is interested in knowing results only, so you can just go to results and you can explain results. So it is, you have flexibility to present your content, whereas in oral presentation, you content is like targeted toward the specific audience, and you will start with introduction and go to method section, then results, then conclusion, interpretation in systematic format. So this is difference between poster presentation and oral presentation. Focus of today's session is poster presentation. We'll discuss in detail poster presentations. So guidelines for poster presentation. When you are preparing posters, use visuals. We need to use visuals. And your posters should be readable from 10 feet of distance. Consistent and clean layout. It has to be like consistent and clean layout. Like you are using, for example, graphs. So you are using pie charts, you are using pie charts, and you are using different types of graphs. So it will look awkward. So you need to be consistent, and it should be like clean layout. You should have clean layout, and less is more. Give breathing space. It is, for example, you have a particular poster size. It is not necessary that whole poster you will populate with lot of information. It has to be like clean and readable, and there should be like some space in between for good impact. Next is clear and concise text. You need to just summarize your information. You don't need to like include every detail. You just need to concise your text, summarize your text. Use bullets, numberings, and headlines. Your bullets, your presentation should be crisp and clear. So for that purpose, use bullets, numberings, and headlines. And aim at active discussion. And when you are presenting your poster, aim at active discussion with visitors. So these are some guidelines for poster presentation. Now, how to create a poster? Choose the correct software. There are different softwares available for preparing posters. You need to select correct software. For example, PowerPoint. You can create your poster on PowerPoint. We'll see how we are creating poster on PowerPoint in detail in our further slides. There are softwares known as InDesign and Illustrator. You can use that softwares. PowerPoint is the most common used software. So I will demonstrate you how to prepare poster using PowerPoint. Poster dimensions and layouts. Most conferences have predetermined dimensions for the posters as well as the orientation, portrait or landscape. So you need to fulfill the predetermined dimensions of conferences for preparing posters, and common dimensions which are used for posters are 36 inch by 42 inch, 42 inch by 48 inch, 42 inch by 52 inch. So these are common dimensions which are used in conferences. Now we'll see method of making posters. There are two approaches. First approach is one piece method. So in one piece, you are preparing your poster. Design the poster in one large piece. Prepare using versatile software applications such as Microsoft PowerPoint. In Microsoft PowerPoint, we can prepare a one-piece poster. Okay, we need to use A3 or A4 size paper for preparing those posters, and these are very eye-catching and making posters stand out from the rest. Another method is approach two is panel method. You prepare different panels and stick together at one large blank poster. So that is known as panel method. Poster area is divided up into number of separate panels. Standard word processor, MS Word file you can use. You can create on MS Word file and you can stick those papers on poster. This is a second approach. Panel method allows for greater flexibility. You can stick any paper anywhere. So you have that flexibility in panel method. Mostly used approach is one piece method. So we'll discuss about one piece method, how to prepare a poster on using PowerPoint. Before going uh, before going to demonstration of that, we'll see structure of poster. Each poster should comprise title and names, what is your research about, and who is involved. That needs to be included in your poster. Introduction, why did you do this research? So briefly, why you are doing this research, that you need to provide in introduction section. Materials and methods, what materials you used for conducting this research and how you perform that research methods. Then results, what new information did you learn? Use figures, tables, and graphs to illustrate. For example, in this particular slide, you can see here disposition of subjects included in this trial, how many patients were taken, what was eligibility, how many patients fulfilled that eligibility, etc. And here in graphical format, you can see the results. Then comes conclusion. We need to provide conclusion and references at the end of your poster. You need to provide acknowledgements at the bottom and contact information, your email ID if you want to provide that you can provide, and disclosure that this work was supported by whatsoever organization was involved in this particular research, that you need to mention in disclosure. So these are different components of posters. Now we'll see PowerPoint, how to create a poster. Before discussing this, let's take a pause here, and I'm open to take your questions if you have any. There is one question from Mr. Balaji Deshmukh. Which software will useful for impressive work? Generally, people are using PowerPoint presentations, which are cheaper and has more impact. And there are other softwares also available. InDesign, I mentioned in my previous slide, that is also used in many organizations, but it has some cost. So if you want free software, please go for PowerPoint presentation. Any other question on poster presentation or content of poster? Conflict of interest in publication. There is a question from Sachin Rane. Conflict of interest in publication. For that purpose, you need to provide citations in this also. If you are taking any others works, you need to credit that as similar to the manuscript, and you are providing disclosure at the bottom, that bottom of your poster, that this is your work. In this way, you can avoid conflict of interest. There is one more question. There is request to share PPT by email to participants. Yeah, it is up to organizers. I will share this presentation with organizers. There are some compliments. Thank you so much. There is a question from Sparsha madam. When we do citation for a review article, that is related to manuscript, but yeah, we can take this question. When we do citation for a review article, we refer whole information. In this case, how is plagiarism considered? Please simplify on this during question answer session. But yeah, I went through this question, so I just will respond to this question. If you're citing, it is not a plagiarism. If you're hiding any others, for example, if you're taking any section or any result, or you are taking some portion of any other's manuscript, if you're not providing citations, then it is plagiarism. If you are providing, if you are taking a lot of information from any particular manuscript, you will have to take permission from that author. You need to reach out to that author, and you can introduce yourself and ask for permission to take a substantial portion of their manuscript in your manuscript. In this way, you will be covered, and you will have to save permission approval email with you to demonstrate to the journal that you have taken permission from that particular author on this particular part. So in this way, you can avoid plagiarism. Okay, so there are many good feedback to the organizers. Thanks for that. Now we'll continue with PowerPoint. How to create a poster. Now for that purpose, I will demonstrate you how to create a poster. I will just opening this presentation. Okay. So for that, for creating poster from PowerPoint, you just need to go to Home tab and click on Layout and select blank. So here is Layout tab. You need to go here. You need to select a blank layout. Okay. Next is go to Design tab. So here is Design tab. You need to go to Design tab. You need to go to Slide Size. Then you need to select to Custom Slide Size. You will open Custom Slide Size, and you can select here Custom. Then for example, 36 by 48 is dimension of your poster. Then you just need to change it to 36. If it is in inch, you can change it to inch. By 42, just change it to 42 and change it to inch. Okay. Then orientation, you can select whether you need to prepare in landscape or portrait, and just okay. And a layout will be ready for you, and you can go on and prepare your poster using different shapes, size, artwork, etc. from the PowerPoint tool. Easy. You need to go to Home tab. You need to select blank layout. Then you need to go to Design tab. You need to select Custom Slide Size. Then you need to change dimensions, whichever you want, and you will have a clean layout to prepare your poster. If either the width and height are greater than 56, then divide both dimensions by an amount that will set them both at 56 inch or less. For example, if your dimension is 48 by 72, you can divide it by 2. So you can create 2 slides of 24 by 36 and 24 by 36. Similarly, you can divide it in 3 slides. it will scale up properly as during printing. Okay. So after preparing your presentation, when you will print, you will get this dimension which you set it in your design tab. In this way, you can create poster by using PowerPoint tool. Do's and don'ts. This is like don'ts of poster presentation. You should avoid make your poster too long. It should be less. Less is more. Use all caps anywhere in the poster is avoided. Give your graphs color background. No more than 2 or 3 colors in your poster. Dark font or light background or vice versa. So these needs to be avoided while preparing your posters. So this is one example of a poorly designed poster. Here, large type states methods, not results. So large size is used for methods, not for results. Here, the results artfully buried in a method's description. So it is artfully buried. You can't read this. You can just see these graphs, but you can't read the results. Carefully omits interpretation. Interpretation is not included, only conclusions are included. So this is poorly designed poster, and this is one beautifully designed or perfectly designed poster where you can see all parts which we covered in our previous slides. You have title, you have author's name and details, you have background, methods, then dynamic faces, tasks, results, discussions, and references. And here disclosure has to be there. So this is a well-designed poster. I think we are already overrunning this presentation by half an hour. I included some exercises, but we can skip if we are not going to continue this presentation now. It's been already 30 minutes over. We can take questions now. So this was all about manuscripts, abstracts, and posters. Hope this will be helpful for you who are wanting to go for manuscript presentation or preparation or publishing. I'm open for your questions if you have any. There is one question from if I'm audible. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think it is unmuted. There is a question from Sachin Rane. chronology or steps in journal selection. It really depends on topic of your uh, research. If it is, for example, if it is related to medicines, there are many medicinal journals. If it is specific to diabetes, there are journals which are only focused on diabetes. So you need to categorize which kind of research you are performing. Based on that, you can go for journal selection. There are many authors who are also considering impact factor. So if you have very good research, if your research results are very sound, you can go for high impact journals. When you are going for high impact journals, there are chances of rejecting your journals. They are scrutinizing it very thoroughly. So if it is selected in high impact journal, it is an achievement, as I mentioned previously also. So based on your research topic, based on your need of impact factor, you can select journals. There is one more question from Sparsha. Thanks for your questions, Sparsha. Is it possible to cite in manuscript from posters which are available in the published content by certain national or and international societies like American Society of Medicines, etc.? We should we should cite manuscript. We should cite posters also if those are available or are already published or available online or at sites of like these societies like American Society of Medicines. We should cite we should cite everything. If you are referring any book, that also you need to refer, or that also you need to cite in your manuscript. If you are referring any poster, that also you need to refer. Yes, that is true. Can you share UGC listed journals? Um, Take that task to yourself. You can search it in by googling it. So you can search UGC listed journals, and you can take that task, please. Next is where can we publish our poster work? There are many conferences taking place, global and international. Global and national conferences. There you can present your posters. There are many when you will google, you can find call for posters, call for abstracts. There you can log in and you can check whether you can present your poster there or not. Like for example, for me, I came to know that there is one conference in Washington DC, and they are calling for posters and presentations. So I prepared abstract and shared with them. It was selected, and they invited me as a chair for that particular presentation. And they asked me whether you want to go for poster presentation or you want to take a session for audience. So I choose to go for taking session for audience. So yeah, there are like call for posters, call for abstracts, and based on your interest, you can attend or you can send your posters to those conferences. And recently there are many e-poster competitions are going on in pharma field. If you want, I can forward many of e-poster competitions which are going on. There you can prepare your poster, and you can post. And if you are lucky, if your poster is good, you will be getting some prizes also. This was for Miss Diksha Tapsale. Next question is from Vishal More. How many references are expected in e-poster? It really depends on your how much detailed information you are including in your introduction section. So yeah, anything between 5 to 10 is sufficient, I think, because you are providing concise information in your introduction section. This was for Vishal More. Thanks for your question. It was nice question. There is one question from Saili, madam. Can you please give information regarding references? There is one more question from Harshada. While writing references in poster, is any criteria for that? You can use a standard format which are which are used by PubMeds, and for some posters they are asking a particular format, so you can use that format. Please give information regarding references. Yeah, so there are APAC, like style of APEC style of presenting or posting references or citations that you can use. More questions from Sparsha. Thanks for your questions. Next question is not only on the topic that you have selected for the webinar, but also you way of presenting and delivering the PPT and also attending the questions very effectively. Oh, that was compliment, not question. Thanks, Pasha, for your many questions. All were good. Thank you. Next question is from Vishal. Can we vary the weightage of sections or posters depending on topic? You whatever sections you are including, it should make sense. So if you are including introduction, it should make sense that that should provide some background for research you are performing. So, and in method section, what methods you are including. So it is not really that weightage of sections. You need to be like sensible enough to include portions in poster depending on your research. So if a lot of objectives are there, obviously if you are including 10 objectives in your poster, your research result part will be huge, because you 10 objectives, 10 questions, 10 results, so your result part will be huge. So if you have only 2 objectives, smaller part will cover in this result section. Same way conclusion and discussion. So it is not like yeah, we can vary weightage of section depending on your research and depending on the information you are including in your presentation. Next question is from Nadav Samaya. Please share those e-posters to my ID. I will share my mobile number. You can just say hi to me on my mobile on WhatsApp, and I will forward it to you. It will be difficult to forward on your mail IDs. So my mobile number will be with organizers. You can contact organizers. You can take that mobile number. You can just say hi and ask for e-poster presentation competition things. I will forward it to you. Or for convenience, I am adding my mobile number here. 8860480585. This is my mobile number, WhatsApp number. You can just ask for those competition e-poster things. I will forward it to you. I think we are through all the questions. Thank you so much for your patience and nice questions. And hope we will interact in further sessions if there are like any conferences or any webinars like this. Thank you so much to Dr. Rajesh Oswal for providing or inviting me for hosting this presentation, and thanks Mugdha madam for coordinating this effective presentation. Apologies that I am not able to hear you all, so I started taking your questions in chat, but I hope I covered or answered all the questions. Thanks again. That's it from my side. Have a relaxing evening and a great weekend. Mugdha madam, over to you.
चालत नाही म्हणून
त्याच्यामध्ये त्यांनी पहिल्यांदा व्हिडिओ दाखवायला
लाईव्ह म्हणजे ते तिकडे चालू असतं केला नंतर लिंक
नाही लिंक आठवड्याभर ऍक्टिव्हिटी दिलेल्या असतात आणि त्या आता 10 त्यांचे व्हिडिओ हे आहेत ना तर त्या असे त्या तिथे टाकलेल्या असतात आपण व्ह्यू करायचे त्याच्यावरचे क्वेश्चन
ते आपण
दाखवू का आता एखाद्या